in question 14, we've got a time series graph here. Okay, some information there. Let's read it. So the table and time series graph give information about the number in thousands of visitors to the British Museum each quarter from quarter 1 of 2015 to quarter 3 of 2017. Okay, so we've got 2015 here, we start quarter 1, and 2017 here, and we don't have the last one there. Okay, and this is our graph. It looks like some moving averages have been plotted here, and it says here 7 of the 8 4-point moving averages. So 7 of them have been plotted, and let's see, 7 of the 8 4-point moving averages for the data are plotted on the grid. Yeah, so that's what it says. Explain why it is appropriate to calculate 4-point moving averages for this set of data. Now, it's appropriate to calculate 4-point moving averages because the year has been split into quarters. Okay, so that's just me giving you the answer there. Let's move on. Okay, so the question continues, and I've got the graph here because we're going to need to look at it. It says the 8th 4-point moving average for the data is 1,525, and we need to plot this moving average on the grid. Okay, so it's the last 4 values. So this value, this value, this value, and this value. If you add these 4 values up and divide by 4, we would have got 1,525. Okay, so these 4 values go from this 4th quarter of 2016 up to the 3rd quarter of 2017. So right in the middle of that is the 1st and 2nd quarters of 2017. So in the middle of that, I need to go up to 1,525, wherever that is, and just plot that moving average there. Next question, draw a trend line for the time series graph. So the trend line goes roughly in the middle between the moving averages here. Okay, so you're just going to draw a line going through there. Okay, and you might want to extend it on this side because we might be using it to estimate something on this side. Okay. Next part says the average seasonal effect for quarter 4 is found to be negative 140,000. Remember, this is in thousands. Okay, so the 140 is what we're really interested in here. Give an interpretation of this value. Okay, so interpretation of this value would be that in the 4th quarter, okay, so we've found in the 4th quarters, if you were to sort of add up these values and find an average, okay, you find that it is negative 140, and add up the value subtracted from the trend line. Okay, so it's going to be the value, take away the trend line, and that will give you a negative value if you're on the 4th quarter, because it's this, take away a number that's going to be bigger than that. And then we've got this, take away a number that's going to be bigger than that. Okay, and then if you find the average, it's negative 140. Okay, so an interpretation would be, remember this was about visitors. Okay, so you're going to say on average in quarter 4, there are 140,000 fewer visitors than the trend or the trend line. Okay, so because it says interpretation, you have to say it in context, and the context is number of visitors. Okay, so it's 140,000 fewer visitors than the trend line. Okay. Next, it says calculate an estimate of the number of visitors to the British Museum in quarter 4 of 2017. Now, we've got the average seasonal effect, so we're going to use that. We've also drawn the trend line already, okay, so we're going to have to use that as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to find what the value of the trend line is when you are at quarter 4 of 2017. Okay, and because you know the average seasonal effect is negative 140, what you're going to do is you're going to subtract 140 from the trend line value. Okay, so you're going to subtract 140 from the trend line value. So the trend line needs to go up to at least quarter 4, and then you have to go 140 down. Okay, so somewhere 140 down, and then that will be the value. Or what you can do is find the trend line value and just subtract 140. Next, it says write down 2 assumptions that have to be made so that your estimate in part D, part 2, so it's there, is valid. Okay, so we use the trend line, okay, and we extrapolate. We sort of went this way. So we need to say that we assumed that the trend continues, okay, and also we used the average seasonal effect. Okay, so the average seasonal effect, that is 140,000 less than the trend line, we assume that that also continued. Okay, so that would be the other one.